she needs to get to know you a little bit more.
Yeah, yeah.
And you gotta, I think that's a good point Maurice made, is that when you just trying to get to know someone,
Mhm.
you have to like kind of be patient with the process, knowing their triggers, knowing their strong points, knowing their weak points, knowing certain things that they like, certain things they don't dislike. And it's your role is to understand, to not rub them once you get to know your partner more. You know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah.
any relationship.
Right. Right. I agree.
Now, with that being said, the next scene in this episode, Marcel and Letitia, they're at the house again, and Marcel said it was an Operation Check Marcel
Mm.
at the graduation party. That's what Marcel said.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, your cousin, your brother G-Man, I think it's the G-Man.
No, it's brother T-Man.
Brother T-Man had
Yeah.
checked him and said, hey, came up to Marcel and said, hey man, you got another baby out there, man? I don't roll that way now. We don't roll. That's my sister. We don't roll like that. And he said, got what? Excuse me? You got another baby out of there. And he said, oh, well, first of all, now we come on two different sides of the tracks. Now this is how you know Marcel is petty. He told brother T-Man, he said, but hold up now, you may be an uncle. Now, this is my thought. I don't know how much I would even play around with that rumor. If there was a rumor out there saying that you have a baby out there and you're taking like little fun, sarcastic jokes out there. But, you have to understand that if there is a rumor, you kind of expect certain family members to come to the defense of family and be like, hey man, you got to be on the up and up dealing with it. If this is true, that's effed up.
That's a little sketch.
That's a little sketch. Right? You have anything you want to add to that, honey?
No, it's just silly.
Now, later on in that same scene, Letitia says to Marcel, now, I don't know, I agree with you, Marcel, that people be, listening too much to these rumors. But Letitia said this in these blogs. Yeah. But Letitia said, now, if it is true that you have a baby outside of our marriage, and you didn't tell me, she said, Marcel, I'm gonna take you for everything you got.
Everything.
And then Marcel said, well, baby, you already got everything. No, I don't. I'm taking the truck. I'm taking the business. I'm taking everything.
And I don't believe she is serious.
Yeah, she is. She is. And rightfully so. Even though there has been reports that the rumors are false, we still just want to make sure that that hopefully that those rumors are not true, because with Cuddle with Purpose, we all about positivity. In marriages especially, is that respecting your spouse, respecting yourself as well, and doing things the right way in decency and in order.
Just being faithful. Not decency and order. It's just like being faithful.
Yeah. And you got to always feel too, every time when you go out somewhere, you're not only representing yourself, you're representing your marriage. So you got to keep that in mind. So you only just don't be faithful when you're with your spouse. You be faithful when your spouse is nowhere around. So that's important.
Very much so.
Now let's go to the next scene. The next scene is about Melody. They're at Melody house, and Martell comes to pick up their children. And Melanie is in her feelings before Martell hits that doorbell to enter in to pick up their children, because Melanie has been seeing certain posts that Martell been posting on social media, and she really don't like that. Melody at this point is about boundaries. Is even though we're not together anymore, we're divorced, we're still co-parenting with our children, and we want to make sure that we're setting the right boundaries, because our children still look up to us and we're their parents.
Right.
So they go into a discussion where Melody separated herself by taking Martell outside on the front doorstep, which I like that. I really like how, if there's the dispute in a relationship, it's very important to not air that out in public.
Right. Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
I like that too.
I think it's very important to talk behind closed doors and be careful who you communicate with outside of the relationship as well, because you may get over time, but the person who you communicated with may not get over it, and there may be a lot more frustration and confusion that still can come and make and escalate the situation.
Exactly.
Yeah. You have anything you want to say on that, sweetheart? Okay. So one thing to talk about too as well is that this is where Melanie went in and she said that, I think it'll be a good idea if we do some co-parenting therapy.
Yeah.
Which I think was a great idea. And
I like that.
Surprisingly, Martell agreed with it. Sometimes, if you've been watching Love and Marriage, he's been kind of on the defensive. Some things I kind of agree with it. Some things I don't. It's a lot of things I don't, more on that side, because I feel when you make your bed, you have to lie in it. And when you reap, you're going to reap what you sow. Okay. Now, Maurice comes home and he actually has a conversation with his son, Monster, and Kimmy at the table, and they're discussing about his future plans. What's his future plans? What he planning on doing? And they call Kawa, which is Maurice and the baby mama of Monster, to actually talk to her about his plans, wanting to stay at school down where they're at.
Right.
Because he's seen how well his other sibling has been doing far as in school, his cousin or something like that. Mm-hmm. Now, this is one conversation in there. While, Maurice called the baby mama, his baby mama, he was having a conversation with the baby mama Kawa and Monster, but Kimmy was there the whole time. Yeah. And Kimmy had to interject in the relationship.
Like, hey,
in the phone call, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this, and this is to all the men that maybe in a similar situation that you have a child previous before you got married. And I can speak from experience for myself. I have 2 children outside, my marriage with my beautiful wife, Tiera. But one thing I understood is that it's so very important is to bring your wife into the situation and let the baby mama know is that my wife is more than capable to take care of our children and do the right thing by our children. My wife is in the picture. So right. I want you to understand that every time when you talk to me, my wife is not too far behind, and I'm going to include her. I feel it's so very important is to set that boundary from step 1. Yeah. Because if you don't, it's going to be hard to set that boundary later on. As long as you step in, yes, the baby mama may not like it and things of that nature, but I'm all about doing things in decency and in order. Would you agree?
I definitely agree. I think that when we met, you being a father was one of the things that I was most attracted to. Mm-hmm. And, of course, you had experienced a divorce years before. Mm-hmm. And, some would look at that as a red flag, but I feel like everybody experiences life.
Yeah.
And if you hadn't gotten married, then you experienced a breakup of some sort, right?
Right.
But what I do like is the fact that you've always made sure that you had that relationship with your children. And then you asked me my opinion. And so I, was able to say, hey, I would like to meet their mother before I get to spend time with them. And we actually dated a while and before we actually made that decision. And then you feel comfortable to bring me into their life. And now we've been able to make that transition. And of course, it's a growing situation, but I do appreciate the fact that you've always allowed me to be a part of the situation. I've also learned where my boundaries were, because in my mind, you automatically feel like I'm gonna be the best stepmom in the world. Mm-hmm. This is gonna be blase. And in reality, it don't always work out like that because other parties may not even want that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I think that you just